I do. Right, it's raining outside, so I can't do any work on the truck. So what I'm going to do is make a stand for my swage block. The logs have been alright, but it's not at a working height. So what I'm going to do is have it so if it's working flat, it's going to be roughly the same height as the anvil, but I'm going to have a bit in the middle so I can stand this on its edge and have these bits at a working height. So what I've got is that bit of box section, that bit of box section, some big flat bar, and some other bits of stuff generally in amongst there. So I'm gonna start cutting stuff up and, well, hopefully make it look like a stand. So right, let's get started. Right, got these cut to length. This bit I just cut in half because, well, I'm going to make the most of it. So I've got them cut to the same size. So even with the 4 inches, that is the width of the swage block, it's still going to come up short. So what I have got are those extra feet. So seeing it's all stuff that's just lying around not doing anything, what I'll do is, yeah, it's still hot, is fit those feet onto the bottom. These ones, if I put that there a minute, these are bigger, so what they'll do is they'll sit a bit further down. So I think I'm going to weld just caps on the bottom, just so they're all level, and then just weld them on, so it's all roughly the same height. Well, not roughly, it needs to be exactly. I've got this big bit of flat bar which I'll weld across the tops with the gap in the middle, and I think the bit that's left over I can weld between the two, so for the bit that stands up. Make sense? Aye. Right, I'll show you what I mean in a minute. Right, just need to take the rust off the tops, so that's that done. Take the rust off them just so I've got, well, clean faces to weld onto, and I've cleaned up the ends of them. So I'm going to weld them to them, and then them to them. So what I think I'll do is change the nozzle on the end of me MIG, because the welding I did yesterday was awful. So if I go back to the old original longer nozzle, hopefully I'll get some tidier welds. So I'm nearly out of gas, but it's absolutely freezing in here, so aye. Right, let's get some welding done. Right, bit of progress. So I've got the legs roughly worked out what I want. I've put some ugly tack welds on here. I found this outside, so what I'm going to do is just weld that on there, so then that's stable, and then I can take us down to proper welds up here, and then just bit by bit I'll join it all together. Actually, what I'm going to do for the back bit here is use some of this angle iron. It's going to be that way, so a lot of it's going to be sitting on there, and then that's just going to stop it from falling off the back. So yeah, so what I'm going to have to do is trim a little bit of height off these ones at the back, because that's about 6 mil and that's less. So aye, but you know, it's not precision engineering because it's me. So right, let's see if I can not make a mess. Right, missed out a few steps, got carried away. I've started putting some rust converter on. Oh. So there it is. I don't know what I did with my measurements, but I managed to arse it all up. Hence why that one's crooked now. What I needed to do was get my high lift jack and just sort of squeeze them together a bit, so the uprights would be upright. So it's, you can see it's still a tiny bit crooked, but I don't care. Just use up a bit of the rest of the flat bar, just to, well, that's the shelf for the swage block. I've managed to get these very close, the same height. I've got a 16-pound, possibly 20-pound sledgehammer, which I think I'll encourage that to come down a bit. So I'll right, what I'm actually still going to do is put a floor in there, so I can still use that as to put stuff in out the way, so I'm not tripping over everything. So I'll get that done, along with making it pretty, and then we'll put the swage block on and see if my measurements were completely wrong. Right, let's keep brushing. How do? Right, the weather's still weathering, so stuff that going outside. So I've got this pretty much covered in rust converter, which seems to be my new friend. The paint I've actually just put on the feet is a forest green, apparently. Okay, take your word for it. What I'm going to do is stick something in there so I can put stuff on. Thinking about what I should have done was just getting a plate, welded the feet on, and then just welded them onto the plate, and that would have saved a load of time. But never mind, if I make another one. I've still got loads of old spanners and stuff, so I'm just going to weld a load on, just because I fancy welding a load of spanners on and make some jazzy patterns. So we'll get that done and see what it looks like. Right, well, several hours later, I think I got a bit carried away with me spanners modern art thing. There's the back. That's all the little tiny ones that you're just not going to do anything with. So there's that side, and there you go. So hang on. Right, and there's the bottom, so I can still store stuff in there, but dust won't gather, so that kind of works out okay. Yeah, believe it or not, I've still got loads of spanners left, so I'll just continue with me bits of modern art until I run out. So right, I'm going to let it cool down a bit. I'm going to stick some more of that forest green paint on, and then eventually I'll actually put the swage block on. What I need to do somehow is actually just put something on the sides, just so it, well, saying that, it weighs nearly 10 stone, so it's not likely to fall off, is it? So I'll figure something out as I go. So yeah, random session this is turning out to be. Right, painted up. Clever me, I measured this to be 13 inches wide, so the swage block will actually just fit in nicely. But if I look at that and that, that's going to be a little bit less than 13 inches. So me getting carried away means I may have to just snip that off there and there, pull them out a little bit and re-weld. We'll find out when I do a test fit. Oh, and I just, yeah. Right. Aye, let's have a test fit. Right, that's it in place. I had to knock that one loose, get it in, so what I'll do is I'll just refit that and repaint it. And I think I might, yeah, I'll probably take that off and then just knock it out a half an inch. But overall that works quite well. It's just at the nice height that I wanted. Yeah, so I've had some ideas about what I can put on the sides, just because, which means, you know, scraping into the paint again, but you know, I've got a little bit left, so I'll fix that. I'll wrestle with that. I'll put the extra little finishing touches on, and then I'll see you in a minute. Right, all finished, in place, with stuff on, like the hammers. I made them. So the little bit I did was, ta-da! So I've managed to, well, take this out a little bit wider. I've re-welded that one, take it a little bit wider. There you go, there's the other end of the spanner. So I had a little bit of rubber mat left, which was literally gathering dust. That's just going to, well, sit there, hopefully quieten it down a bit. So little bits of things I have to keep moving around and tripping over. Now I've got a little bit more space to put stuff in there. And overall I'm quite happy with that, considering it was only something to do while the wind was up. Right on. Mind, I did some ugly welds, but I didn't show you then, so that's alright. Right, well, here's hoping that the wind settles down and I can get back to the truck. See you in a bit.